Hey everyone, Sean Johnston with Keller Williams Yellowstone Properties and the Johnston Property Group, and today we're going to talk about cash flow models and how to evaluate rental property. So let's talk about what it looks like to evaluate a rental property. Probably one of the biggest questions / concerns that I get from people is, how do I know whether or not this rental property is going to pay for itself, and what are the risks involved in buying a rental property? And so if you've watched the video where we talk about why real estate, and we'll put a link to that right here, go back and look at that. This is one of the 4 quadrants that you're going to see in that video that talks about the 4 different ways that you make profit when you buy rental property. So today we're going to talk about a cash flow model and how to evaluate a rental property. So we're going to say we're going to go out and buy a $300,000 duplex. And we're going to run the numbers on this to see what does that look like, what can we expect for cash flow, what are the things that we need to calculate for. So let's say we've got 2 rental units. Each one of them is going to pay us $1,100 a month in rent. Right? So this is your income from the property that you're going to receive on a monthly basis. So we've got a total income of $2,200 a month coming in on our property each and every month. All right. Now, we're also going to have expenses related to our property, right? Depending on how you purchase it. If you go out and you have $300,000, these numbers are going to look a little bit different, and we can talk about that another day. But let's say that you're actually going to the bank, you're going to take out a loan, you're going to take out a loan where you're going to put 20% down on the property. So in this case, that would be $60,000. And you're going to take out a mortgage, and that mortgage is going to cost you $1,293 a month, and that is going to be principal, interest, taxes, and insurance all calculated into that payment on a monthly basis. In addition to that, you're going to have a maintenance cost. I normally recommend 10% of your monthly rent, so that would be another $220 that you need to be setting aside. You're not necessarily spending that every month, but that's going to go into your bucket of money that you're going to have set aside to take care of, a plumbing issue or an electrical issue, whatever might come up over the course of time. You also need to calculate for, make sure we write that down, maintenance. We'll also want to calculate for vacancy. So you're not always going to have your rental property full of people. You're going to have people that move out. There's going to be a transition time there where you're looking for your next renter. And so you need to calculate for that on months where you may only have a partial month's worth of rent. In Billings, Montana right now, our vacancy rate is well below 5%. We have a marketplace in the rental world that is crazy right now. It's as crazy in the rental market as it is in the real estate purchasing environment. People are having a very hard time finding rentals, and the rental rates are rising quite substantially and quite quickly. But we're going to say 5% just to be on the safe side. So that's going to be another $110 again that you're going to be putting into your bucket so that you have the money set aside to make sure you can make your payment on any of those given months. Now, you may also choose to use a rental outfit to manage your property. We're not going to talk about that today. We're going to base this on the fact that you're buying a property and you're going to rent it yourself, take care of all those expenses. So your total cost there is going to be $1,623. We're just rounding all these numbers off. So you have an income of $2,200 and an expense of $1,623. So I'm just following my cash flow model that I use when I evaluate properties myself. I've got a screen up over here where I'm pulling the numbers off of a spreadsheet that I use. And we've got $16.23 a month coming out in expenses, which gives us $576 a month of cash flow. All right, so we need to take that number, multiply it times 12, and come up with an annualized income on the property, which in this case would be $6,919 that you would be earning on an annual basis. All right, so that looks great, but what's that actually work out to in the real world? So let's look at your down payment on this is going to be $60,000 is your down payment. You're going to have roughly, and this is going to be dependent on who you go through as a lender. I just use 2.5% as your closing costs. We're going to call that $7,500 for closing costs. And so that's $67,500 that you're going to invest in this property to purchase it. And so what we're going to do to find out what kind of a rate of return we're getting on this investment is we're going to take our annualized income divided into our actual money that we invest in the property. And again, if you watch that video that we were talking about earlier, you'll see how that all breaks down. But that rate of return right there is 9.8% rate of return on your actual investment into the property. And remember, when we talk on the other video, we talk about the fact that this is just your cash flow rate of return. This doesn't include your depreciation. This doesn't include your mortgage reduction that's being paid down by your renters. And it also doesn't include the appreciation over time that's happening with your real estate. So just on your cash flow side, that's a 9.8% rate of return. So I hope that answers some questions for you. This is how you evaluate a piece of property. I've been doing this for 20 years. This works every time to give you a rough idea of what your expectations are. One of the things you're going to want to look at when you look at these things, and we'll maybe talk about this on another video, but to look and see, is your rental property that you're buying under rented? Maybe these rents are low. I was just looking at a property the other day where there were 4 units and we could have added another $400 of rent to that unit because it was under rented. They weren't charging what the going rates were for that particular property. So all of these things are things that you can adjust, whether your insurance, you can find somebody that can give you a better rate on your insurance. Maybe you can get a better interest rate. We use 3.5% on this particular example. But all of those pieces are moving parts that will adjust and change this number up or down. Hope that helps you. Remember, if you're ever looking at real estate, remember it's the Johnston Property Group where we bring real estate to real life. Have a great day, guys.